Welcome to Willie D Live. I'm about to go in with Corey Holcomb. But before I do that, as always, we like to start the show off with a bit of good news. Today's good news moment is brought to you by Good Spy and comes out of Los Angeles, California, where after 20 years in and out of Los Angeles prisons, a guard told Susan Burton she'd be back. Susan proved her wrong. When her 5-year-old son was killed, Susan Burton lost her way. Her son was playing outside and ran into the street where a car hit him. In the blink of an eye, Susan's life as she knew it was over. She unraveled, and his death led her down a dark spiral. Susan turned to drugs and alcohol to medicate her grief, which resulted in a number of arrests. The life she'd envisioned and worked toward had ended abruptly, and she began a cycle of being in and out of prison for over 20 years. When Susan was released from prison for the last time, the guard said, "You'll be back. Well, we'll have a bed waiting on you." Susan vowed that wouldn't be the case, but she knew firsthand how hard it was to re-enter society after incarceration. The reality is that the prison system in America is deeply flawed. In fact, y'all, it's fucked up. The majority of prisoners who leave jail wind up behind bars again within the first few years of release. According to a 2015 report by the U.S. Department of Justice, 67.8% of the 4,638 state prisoners released in 2005 in 30 states were arrested within 3 years of release, and 76.6% were arrested within 5 years of release. Things in 2016 aren't much better. It took years, but with the help of her community, Susan was finally able to break the cycle. Susan had tried repeatedly to get her life back on track, but because of her record, she couldn't find a job, treatment programs for her addictions either. When she finally found support within her community, Susan became sober, found a steady job, and most importantly, began to heal. She wasn't content to just help herself out of jail. She wanted to help others too. I knew thousands of women that just needed a few months of support just to be able to get on their feet and not return to prison, she said. Susan worked hard, saved her money, and purchased a house. She then returned and bought a new house into a reentry program. What started as an individual effort quickly grew. A new way of life reentry project was born. Today, she's helped over 1,000 women to get a new lease on life. A new way of life is tackling America's incarceration crisis head on, and the work they're doing is undeniable. Last year, the project had a recidivism rate of 13%. Compared to the national average, that's huge. It's a huge success and a strong indication that what they're doing is working. Y'all reach out to Susan Burton and thank her for her service. For more good news, as well as daily motivational and empowering content, download the Good Spy app today on iTunes and Google Play. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Holcomb is in the building.
Hey, what's up, Willie? That was very touching, that story. I want to let a lot of ladies who are out there looking for employment know that you don't have to sell drugs. You can give hand jobs. I know it sounds a little funny, but let me tell you something. When people know you give a good hand job, you can pay that rent in a week. I'm here to let you know right now. That needs to be known.
Say, man, let me tell you something, man. I've been waiting on this interview for a long time. I mean, when I first started the podcast, I had a short list of people that I knew that I had to get on the show.
Oh, man, I'm glad to be here.
Man, hey, man, thank you, man. Thank you for everything you've done, man. You make a lot of people laugh, man.
and you know what? The goal is to make people laugh, but I'm serious. You can make money getting hand jobs and get a nice little workout, too.
Yeah, I think they know that, man.
Oh, well, some girls, sometimes they need to hear it to be like, I thought of that. I'm going to do it.
Right.
They need that little push. I'm here to let you know. Don't worry about the shame. Think about your kids. You can help them live a better life.
Say, man, congratulations on everything, man. From the TV to the movies to the stand-up. And I'm going to tell you, I think out of all the stuff you've done, and I'm crazy about that Black Jesus, man. That's my thing right there.
Oh, yeah.
But, out of all the things you've done, I think you enjoy that 5150 show more than anything.
That's my baby.
That's it, huh?
Corey Holcomb 5150 show. Just Google Corey Holcomb 5150 and let the adventure begin, because it's 100% freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I say stuff that I know sometimes I go too far.
Yeah.
But I believe when people watch you and get to know you, just like you do this podcast here,
right,
they get to gauge who you are. They get a good idea of who you are. So if I go too far, you know, you got the crazy people be out there, be like, oh, but most people be like, oh, boy, cool out. You know you wrong for that one. You know what I mean? So it feels good to be me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of going too far, man, you know I caught your show the other day, right?
Which one? What I say?
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I know comedians who say, hey, man, a joke is a joke, and you know I just try to make people happy, you know, and our job is to turn pain into laughter. But I do believe personally there are some things that you can say that goes too far. Like to me, slavery jokes ain't funny to me. I mean, because that encompasses it. Like everything that we're going through right now is like can be traced back to that. So those type of jokes are never funny to me. But I never thought about abortion jokes.
Yeah, I do.
And you know, you did this abortion joke, man, where you was talking about you standing out in front of an abortion clinic and you giving free ultrasounds.
Yeah, well, I'm selling the ultrasound pictures.
You selling ultrasound pictures, and you said something to the nature of
a lot of women don't even have pictures of the little baby, even though he didn't get a chance to develop and get pubic hair and everything, stuff like that. So just because he only lived a couple of weeks don't mean that you don't need a photo of him.
See, man, I don't even know. I feel bad for laughing at this, man. But
you should never feel bad for laughing. Laughing is genuine. And
man, when you said,
if you feel embarrassed about what somebody said or you think it's wrong and you still laugh, there's something in there that triggered you that was genuine.
But you said something about that being the first and last photo.
Yeah, the first and last photo.
That's cold, man. That's cold, dog.
You know what we've done? We've got with these people who work with photography, and they can actually draw a little face on the ultrasound if you want to on how we think the baby could have looked if it had a chance. I like it. Willie D is uncomfortable. I'm making him uncomfortable.
Okay, man. Well, listen, man. Listen. Well, okay. Well, what about the women who went through this type of situation and they're not like just popping them out, you know? Because I mean, I would think that that's who you really targeting is the women who just it ain't no big deal.
We have to make a joke about the choices we make. Man, I done some stuff, man. Willie, I'll be like, man, I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
From cheating and all kind of stuff that's embarrassing.
Right.
But this is one of the choices that women make that I feel like we can't give them a pass on it. We got to joke about this. I'm not going to just act like it didn't happen because it hurt your feelings. Listen, you have to set the appointment. That means that you got time to cancel if you want to. It's life growing in you. That's the #1 death in the hood, abortion. Did you know that?
Wow. Oh,
Did you know that? Check the statistic.
Yeah.
The #1 killer in the hood is abortions.
I mean, is that just in the hood though? Or is that everywhere?
It might be everywhere.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those everywhere statistics.
Oh no, I don't know if it's everywhere. Some countries and stuff like that, you can't just get your baby yanked.
In this country, you can.
Yeah, in this country, you can get babies yanked. If it's inconvenient for you, you don't feel like having it, you can just be like, well, I'm going to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And all this is something that needs to be said and something that needs to be joked on. Because if you just keep on turning your back to something like abortion, I believe that there are women who probably watch what I say, and then if they get pregnant, they might think about what I say, feel bad, and not have the abortion. Have you ever thought about that? Because they'll be like, no, I'm not going to be that statistic Corey jokes about.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Like, you know, a lot of your material, much of your material involves relationships, and you're particularly hard on the women, and it seems like that you exonerate the men in many cases. Why does the men get a pass so much? And the women got a better burden.
Listen, it's not that I think men don't do wrong. There's just as many wretched men as there are wretched women, but wretched women are not normally called out in the media. So there are a lot of women who don't even realize they're wretched. They think that they're supposed to conduct themselves the way they conduct themselves because a lot of them grow up without a dad in the house. They grow up with a mom. And a lot of times they co-sign that bullshit they do because the mom don't know no better. I feel like it's my job to joke about what I see, and intelligent people, whether they agree or not, they get where I'm coming from, because people walk up to me all the time and say, you know what, Corey, I listened to your joke about this, that, and the other. You wrong for that, but you made a good point. You see what I'm saying?
You know what I find interesting, man, is that when I go to your shows, it's always packed with women. I'm like, and the women be just laughing. I mean, just as hard. In fact, not just as hard. The women laugh harder than the dudes. And I think a lot of the dudes, their laughter is suppressed because they are afraid of what
God, Willie, you
the woman might say.
Oh, let me respond to that. Oh my God, that's such a good point. Listen, women are not as weak as we treat them. There are a lot of women who literally didn't have any contact with men until they start fucking around with them. So most of the shit they heard from men is bullshit because it's a guy trying to get some pussy. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You would be surprised if you just stop for a second and realize how women react to the truth when they feel like you're being sincere. They actually want to hear it, even if they don't like it. That's why women come to my show. They know I'm gonna talk some shit about women. I talk shit about men too, but the shit I say is like the uncle or father that would be telling them that they never had.
That's a good point.
And men, some men at my show, they put their head down the whole show because the woman they sitting next to, they've been bullshitting her ever since they met her. So all my shit that I'm joking about is basically they life with her, and they ashamed because she laughing at the bullshit. She be like, that sounds just like the shit you be doing. That's what happens with the men.
Right.
But the stand-up guys who have finally gotten the courage to do their best to always tell a girl the truth or tell a girl what's up when you around, they really laugh at my show. Or the guys by themselves without a woman.
Right. Man, let's talk about these damn coons.
Let's talk about these coon Stephen A. Smith.
Who in your opinion is the number one coon dundada?
Well, I don't know. I would say Stephen A. Smith.
It's a close race right now, man.
Because he's on TV every day.
But
on ESPN.
But you know, lately, as of late, you know, he's been kind of like
dwindling.
Yeah,
that show ain't what it was because
what I'm
the
saying,
little voice boy left.
Now what I'm saying is that I'm saying is that like some of that rhetoric and stuff, you know, that cooning shit is like he's like backed up off of it. I mean, he's like speaking up a little bit more now. Have you checked him out lately in the last few months?
I've been watching him for a while because I used to be a fan of his.
Right.
I met him at the Shaq All-Star Comedy Jam, and one day he even quoted one of my tweets on his show. Mm-hmm. But as I watch him, he is definitely a black man who is very concerned with the acceptance of his boss. Mm-hmm. So much so.
But who's not concerned about the acceptance of that boss? I mean, that's your boss. You got to make your boss happy.
I said very much concerned. So much so that he will throw his race under the bus. This is a very important point I want to make about Stephen A. Smith. One day he got bold enough to say something about women on his podcast during that Ray Rice thing.
Right.
He said something to the effect of women shouldn't be doing and running up on their man or whatever because you see what could happen.
Right.
He was suspended for that. Ever since he got suspended for that, he's never done nothing but kissed women ass. Kissed homosexuals ass. Because that's what you can't talk about gay people. You can't talk about women. Obviously, he doesn't talk about Caucasian people, but he will throw black people under the bus.
Well, you can talk about them, you just can't be critical of them.
You can't be talking about who?
You can't be critical. You can't be critical of them.
Of who?
Now, I'm saying you can talk about homosexuals, you can talk about women, you can talk about white people, but you can't be critical.
If you want to keep your job,
right,
and you work for any of these major networks, if you talk about homosexuals, you will be fired.
No. What I'm saying, I think we're saying the same thing. I'm just saying you can talk about them, but you can't be critical. You can't be judgmental of them.
Well, this is what happened to me. Oh, go ahead.
Because that's what happens with, you can be judgmental of black people. You can be very, very extremely critical of black people here. In fact, you get a raise.
Yeah.
You know, but if you
That's
call other people out, you know, you judge other people, you know, they're gonna try to put the whip on you.
Oh yeah. I was working I was doing some radio up at Jamie Foxhole back in the day, and it was this guy on there. He was obviously homosexual, one of them dudes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said something about him, man. One day, I said something about, I hate that motherfucker. That's when I got in trouble, because they had them people.
So you didn't say I hate him because he gay. You said I hate him.
I hate that.
I just hate him
because you know what I'm saying. Sometimes that'll come out your mouth just because that's the way we talk in the hood. That's that's part of a friend. I hate that.
Why did you hate him?
I don't know. I didn't mean it because I don't hate him.
Right.
Because I don't know him. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So you just said this shit to be rebellious. You thought
I said it.
You said it because he was off limits.
No, what it did, it made me realize, Corey, you got to watch what you say when it comes to any type of threats, because they take that as threats. What's the organization that protects the gay people or whatever?
Oh, the LBGT.
One of them motherfuckers. Anyway, they got in touch with me.
Yeah.
And they said, Corey, I think you're really funny, but you can't say you hate somebody because they look at that as a threat. You could crack jokes all day about people, and whatever happens from that, that's what happens from that. But we're not mad at you if you crack jokes, but if you say that, they look at that as a threat.
Well, you can't say, you can say you hate somebody. If you had said you hated, you know, Willie D or whatever person, that would have been cool.
Right.
The LBGT wouldn't have called you. But
if you say you hate I say I hate you,
exactly.
I can't
now
say I hate Willie D.
They want to fight for that. Okay.
That's why I tell people when the police pull you over, black men, when the police pull you over, tell them, look, I'm gay, and then they won't shoot you.
Shit.
They don't want it. They don't want it.
I don't know about that, because see, the LBGT community, that's one of the slights against the LBGT community, is that they don't fight when it comes to black people getting killed. They don't fight, even if you are gay.
But the police don't want the lesbian, gay community after them. So if the police pull you over and you be like, "Was I speeding, officer?" He'll be, just go ahead.
Okay, well look here, man. Look at the Black Lives Matter movement. You got a lot of gay people that are at the forefront of that movement, but you don't see hardly any white people standing up helping them fight. You know, you definitely don't see any type of activity from the LBGT community. As far as they're not coming out saying we support the Black Lives Matter movement. They're not fighting for that.
But if you out there marching and the police start running up on the people on the march, fellas, if you do this, stop, officer, then they'll leave you alone. They'll be, you go ahead. And they'll go after the masculine looking brother. They don't. I'm telling you, man, they know those them homosexual people, they got a mob behind them, man. We don't have a mob behind us.
That I don't disagree with. I mean, they are organized and, they're not afraid.
Right.
In fact, some of them dudes, you know, are a whole lot more stronger, got more nuts than some of these so-called killers out here in the streets and
But you do understand
bangers.
They're allowed to be organized as homosexuals.
Okay.
Us black alpha males, we're not allowed to get organized. If you, me, anybody who is a black man who speaks like this, you know what I'm saying? Like you got bass in your voice. You can't form a skating club without them investigating it.
Right.
Get what I'm saying? But long as you are demasculinized, hey, you can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you go have a booty party with all dudes, they not gonna bother that. They're gonna be like, ass fuck on.
Right.
But if we, like me and you, Willie D, one day we get together and we start having a little, like we travel around the country and speak to youth about how to protect yourself, how to get an education and stuff like that, we'll be investigated.
Yeah, I believe
that's
that.
not what they want.
I believe that. I believe
right.
that. I believe that. That's kind of like the way America operates. You know, anything that assists in the progression of black people. Any person that actually goes out and say, you know, I'm with this cause that's going to help black people, going to be investigated. Because we are targets in this country. We are being targeted by our own government for failure.
Yes.
Don't ever think differently. Now that doesn't mean that you accept it. Doesn't mean that you roll over and die. It just means that that's a reality. And anybody that act like it isn't, is living in La La Land.
Yeah, man. Black Entertainment Television, BET, used to have shows like Teen Summit and things like that. That was actually
Informative and educational. Yeah.
yeah, for us brothers.
Exactly.
But they wasn't having that. So
Right.
the government, Viacom, bought BET. They made Mr. Johnson an offer that I know he couldn't refuse. You know what I mean when I say that.
Right.
They'll tell you we'll buy it, but we're gonna take it anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, if you look at BET, it got sucker ass shows with bitches fighting and all that sucker shit. It's just sucker TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even the rap videos, like we was talking about, the look gay acting young men. You can be a star. All you guys who ask me about, hey Corey, I want to be a comedian and I want to make it. I'll be like, well, it's gonna take a lot of hard work, or you can fuck them niggas out there.
Wow. We're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna continue to talk about these fuck boys.
That's right.